Wild game at Maryland last night. I know we don't talk Big Ten basketball too much, and we won't here, but incredible late game situation. Michigan State wins it 58-55. Let's watch this final sequence. It was tied 55-55. Maryland at home with the ball. Shot clock off. There's no way you're supposed to lose this game in regulation if you're Maryland. You're supposed to win it or go to overtime, but somebody took a shot a little too early. Let's watch it together, Kyra.
Gotta go. Gillespie for three. Goal or no. Holloman looks the clock. Halfcourt for the win. Oh my goodness. Holloman from halfcourt to win it on the road.
That was
Wild
awesome.
situation.
That was awesome.
So Jacoby Gillespie is the Maryland player there. And he had just made a couple of free throws to tie the game at 55. So he's feeling himself a little bit. They end up with the ball, and he pulls from about 5 feet too deep and pulls with a little more than 4 seconds left on the clock. Like, every basketball coach will tell you, you've got the ball, shot clock off, tie score. We're either winning this game in regulation or we're going to overtime. But there's no scenario where we're letting enough clock be left so that they can even get a shot off on us to end it if we happen to miss or turn it over or whatever. And yet Gillespie goes early and long rebound. Michigan State secures it, quickly gets it to Tre Holloman. And he, yes, lets a beyond half-court heave go. And, yes, it's a lucky shot. That's the way Tom Izzo described it afterwards. But it's still a shot you cannot allow the other team to take. You can't even allow that to happen. And that's just poor late-game management by a college basketball player who is probably going to have hell today in film. So Michigan State wins, Maryland loses. And what's wild is it is things like that. A poor decision by Jacoby Gillespie and a miracle shot by Tre Holloman that could end up enhancing Tom Izzo's Wikipedia page. Because earlier this season, he already became the all-time winningest coach in Big Ten history, passing Bob Knight. Nobody's won more Big Ten games than Tom Izzo at the age of 70. Right now, he has 10 Big Ten titles. The record is 11, held by a former Purdue coach and a former Indiana coach. The former Indiana coach, of course, is Bob Knight. The Big Ten title was still very much up for grabs. Michigan and Michigan State play on the final Sunday of the regular season on CBS, America's most watched network of stars, and it'll probably come down to that game. But we might look up in a few weeks and say accurately, Michigan State won the Big Ten by a game or shared the Big Ten with somebody else. And neither of those things would have been possible if not for Tre Holloman making a beyond half-court shot on February 26th. In other words, Tom Izzo could be both of these things by the end of the season. The all-time winningest coach in the Big Ten and a man who has as many Big Ten titles as anybody else who's ever lived. And it could really be a byproduct of a poor decision by a Maryland player and a half-court heave by a Michigan State player on February 26, 2025. So a lot of these legacy type of things, I always find it interesting. They come down to just random things that often have nothing to do with the person we're actually talking about. Like LeBron's legacy is in some ways tied to an offensive rebound kick out to Ray Allen, quick three. Like if not for that sequence happening, that quite literally had nothing to do with LeBron James. It's one less title for LeBron James. And his legacy is discussed differently than it is as it is. So these things are not unique to Michigan State or college basketball. They're littered throughout sports history, but there's a pretty good one for you. Michigan State could be your Big Ten champs. Tom Izzo could add another trophy, and it could have been the byproduct of a poor decision by a Maryland player and a wild shot by a Michigan State player.
The Gary Parrish Show, live weekdays at 10 a.m.